right, so then we have a quorum, and we do. Approval of minutes from the following meetings. Did you have a chance to look at them?
They're very thorough. I move that we approve the minutes from April 13th and from May 2nd, 2023.
Okay, second. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Raise your eye. Yep. Okay. Public comment? Haven't got any public comment anywhere? Nothing.
Jenna with us.
Still not.
Yes.
Still no Jenna. For the most part, I don't know how much Jenna is important to the conversation,
Okay.
other than
You're all-
our fundraising going.
Right.
Okay,
You have a letter in the packet kind of describing the
Yeah.
ins and outs. That's been reviewed by both the Community Foundation and Jennifer behind me. Sorry.
that's all right.
So as far as legalese and making sure we're keeping things eligible, within the letter, it does offer up to 7 individual elements that could be proposed. I did talk with Jenna, with that, and she's okay with that number. It's just more of a timing issue to make sure we can give her the adequate time to design whatever that needs to be. Beyond that.
Can I make one suggestion?
Sure.
Make it all one page.
I tried, I'll go back and take a look at some of the formatting and see.
Yeah, all you have to do is change,
Yeah, I shouldn't need that wide and large.
yeah, just get it large.
Yeah, that's the way the letterhead works, so it becomes, well, let me go back and play with the formatting.
And like an Iowa City, like rule for the letter.
No, it's just the way our letterhead was designed when Fuel did the graphics for it.
That it comes out this big.
Well, who,
So, but let me go back and play with the formatting.
Well,
Yeah, that,
even if you
I
just
do
take
agree,
this
make it
one-
one page.
Well,
So let me go back and play.
yeah,
And if I can't, I'll try to massage some of the language in there and.
then it has to go through approval again.
yeah, I wouldn't
You
change
want
it.
your-
I would just honestly. You can move that. Iowa City Municipal Airport up into the. Header and put a return address on the right. Like a standard business header.
Well, we'll play with it and see what we can do.
Hey.
That one draft. We're expecting, just come back.
Okay, so do we need to get any other kind of approval for this letter?
I don't know that
It looks
outside
like
of,
it's
if everybody's comfortable
reasonable.
with, the general ideas, again, we're allowing for individual elements to be presented, but there's some
Yeah.
information level, I think.
With our approval.
With our approval, yes, the caveats are both ours and then
Yep.
commission approval.
Yeah.
We've limited that to basically 7 to do the math. If you
Yeah.
have $5,000 at 7 gets us where we need to be.
Okay.
Mike, did Jenna indicate, like, if there was what date she'd have to know that by?
She was looking for, yes. Sorry.
I wonder if we should put a date in there.
She was requesting stuff to her by late July, so basically somewhere between July 15th to August 1st.
So we could do that. We could say
But we can add a deadline.
received before July 31st.
July 1st.
And you can delete the phone number off your signature and embed your email underneath. See if it will fit.
Well, it is already, it's in the letterhead.
Yeah, that's what she was,
Yeah.
you might not be down there.
So,
There's an email you can put underneath. Or a link.
so we would add, due by July.
31st.
Well, or just maybe some language about the 7, that, we wouldn't want people to donate a large amount on August 1st, and then we say, well, we haven't had 7, but
Just say
too
something
late.
like, donations, gifts exceed, before, but were received before, July 31st, yeah.
Okay, so put that down here.
And just say receive before.
Okay,
Yeah.
We might have to
Will
confirm with
be allowed
Jenna.
to propose a person.
It might have to be before that if she needs to know what the element is by
that
July 31st.
could even be before July first.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so check with Jenna. Okay. And then the foundation is helping with coming up with names, or what did we decide about where to send it to?
Well, we're gonna hit the hangar tenants and airport related businesses, folks we've worked with in the past, and beyond that, it's people are gonna have to reach out to. Other individuals. I did talk to Wendy. Wendy doesn't have much of an artist list, but she's got a couple of people she can try to bounce it off of. As far as a donor list, because the city's been like,
Yeah,
kind of self-funding the program. And they haven't really done anything where they've had to go out for
Yeah,
larger donations.
could we do something with the a citizen,
Yeah, we'll do some press releases, we'll announce.
maybe that some of
the
the
fund.
local TV station? Ask them, they could put something like that in the news,
We put a picture.
a picture of like a mural and proposed.
and
We'll do a press
connect with the neighborhood,
do some
engage,
social media stuff.
engage Cardiff, Iowa City.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
they send it out to the neighborhood.
We'll hit up all our normal channels that we have.
Some of the neighborhoods will probably be more enthusiastic.
Probably.
Plus, it's another PR about the airport, so people
Well,
understand about the airport, that
Yeah.
it's there and what's going on.
I just know there's, if you're upset about airplane noise, you're not gonna win hearts and minds with a mural, so.
No,
Yeah, but blast it out everywhere and
okay.
that should get some, I would think.
now is that something Mike's gonna do?
I will start working on that and maybe, but because of the urgency, I'm gonna try to have everything starting to publish within the next probably week and a half.
Great.
Definitely before the end of the month. And that's gonna limit.
I have a question. You mentioned in the past, and you probably have discussed this, so I'm sorry. About the Tiger Hawk, that you were gonna contact the university in order to.
Yep, we've gone through going back to the concept discussions that we've had, a couple of things, the Tiger Hawk, right now, tentatively, we're okay to use. They do want to see your final review of the concept for final approval. But we've made our contact with the athletic department through when I think Wendy was the one that helped us with that. And showed them the draft concept that was presented, and they're like, yeah, this is a community thing, we're good, but show us the final.
The athletic department or
Yeah.
strategic community?
No, the athletic department. The actual holder.
Okay.
Also. I did send the comments I got about revisions to Jenna, so she has those. She did also ask for a little help because we've some of the comments that we've had both collectively at the meeting and in the list were women and people of color, that if there are any examples out there that we can throw her way, would be great. Otherwise, it just becomes the generic individual. So if there are specific people that would fit the bill.
Like the Amelia Earhart.
Would be.
Well,
But she had anything to do.
but she doesn't really have anything outside of being in Iowa City once, which I
Yeah.
can't tell that she was ever in the airport.
There was a Minetta might actually be a good.
And I,
Yeah.
I think Manetta's probably a good point person to.
Okay,
But yeah, that was some of the stuff when we had the more specific requests of including those things.
Has anyone made any contact with Cohen's the university that might be interested in promoting the fact that they're using an Iowa graduate for this mural?
No, I don't think anybody has.
I know that when we talked with Lynette, she had mentioned that would be really interesting for possibly our school, these publications that the university puts out. Pieces we want to highlight.
And then for donation too.
Yeah, because there are a number of publications that go out, like usually internal, but they're internal to a point that highlight those sorts of things like newsletters and stuff that get sent to staff, but maybe that could go out in some additional.
I think every school puts out a magazine once a month for potential donors, so.
Mhm.
School of Art might be, or interested.
We might ask Jenna, there's someone at that school of art that she would suggest we talk to. About it, she might want to trumpet her own accomplishment. Help us same time with some fundraising.
I'll go that way.
Next time we see her. Yeah. Okay,
Okay, are we on to the strategic plan? Are we done with the-
Unless there's any other questions, it sounds like we kind of got the next steps and
it's a good letter.
we've got,
It's a great letter.
kind of know what we need to do. We just need to get it done.
I think that the whole big thing is gonna be reaching the right people. I have some concern that, the letter alone, may not be enough, will we need to have some kind of event? But we can see what the response to the letter is.
What is the plan if we don't hit our numbers?
Here's our fundraising target.
Yeah, but when we don't, or if we don't,
Well,
plan for the best and also put in. Is it then that because of the community, what is the plan?
The foundation.
Well, the fund continues.
Right, yeah. So like,
We can just pay for it, and then as that money keeps coming in,
Yeah.
it'll go back to pay back.
yeah,
okay, so is that kind of the plan then?
essentially, it messes with our cash balance and what we can do, but.
Right, yeah, okay.
We don't want that to happen.
No, certainly not, but I just want to make sure we have a plan for if it didn't happen. And then we're like left holding the bag or something.
We got it. Okay,
Anything else? Questions, comments, concerns?
no, on to the strategic plan.
All right. Hello.
Welcome back.
So tonight, what we need to do. Take sort of a final look at mission, vision, goals, and then touch base with the strategies and the success indicators. And this month to fuss with it, so I have some suggestions that I think will move us along. So. Okay, so I'm coming at how to do this.
One quick.
Okay, you have there. Your revised vision statement, mission statement, no changes. Are we still good with that?
I think so.
Any issues?
The revised vision statement just reads in an awkward way to me. It seeks to support and is an integral community asset. I don't know.
Supports?
It might be better to say that Iowa City Municipal Airport is an integral community asset
That seeks.
that seeks to support
And benefit.
and provide benefits. It seeks to, you can't seek to be to. Seeks to something and also be something.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
I would even take out the seeks. I would say Iowa City Airport isn't a community asset, it supports the strategic goals of Iowa City.
And to benefit the region's commerce vitality
And benefits.
and to benefit the region's commerce vitality and
To
community.
support and do benefit.
Wait. Give me the wording again, please. The Iowa City Municipal Airport,
Is
Is-
a community asset
yes,
that supports
that supports.
the strategic goals of Iowa City. And it would be and benefits the region's
Yes.
commerce vitality.
I like that much better. It just reads so much more smoothly.
Sure.
Okay, all right.
It's the same word.
Yeah, it's just rearranging and making it
Sounds good.
cleaner and not so clunky.
Right.
I think that's great. Okay, so I'll make those changes. You'll have another chance to double check that I got it right. Here are your goals. The question with the goals, do you want to put these in any particular order? You have a couple of continue, right in a row.
Yeah, continue. It would be better to have something other than two of those.
I like increase the community's use as the first one, personally.
What do the rest of you think?
There,
So leave with that, okay?
then I would actually develop and then continue.
That makes sense, yeah.
When we think of a different verb, so we don't have two continues.
Somebody, yeah, I try to think of a different word. I mean, part of the challenge is you're doing this and you want to acknowledge that you're doing it, but. Yeah. I'll get some AI
You
on
could
it.
also put in, instead of continuing strong communication, you could say sustain.
Sustain and continue, excellent, I like that.
Okay. Still like the chat bot looking. Okay, so next we want to go through. These goals that have strategies underneath. I'm not necessarily going to go through this order or the order that you just listed. I'm going to start with the ones I have the most questions about. So the infrastructure goal. The strategies you talked about. In the success indicators, you described some upgrades to the airport's appearance and landscaping. Signage and painting the hangars, but you don't necessarily put these overtly in the strategies. And I know that these are important things that you want to do.
Good.
So you could do this, let's see, left. So here's some optional options for wording you can tweak with this. Maintain the airport's appearance by regular painting and just outline exactly what you want to do. Or from your previous plan, you had paint the airport hangars, improve the landscape.
I think that's too granular. I think.
Okay,
Uh,
so maintain.
How about under the current infrastructure goal of your page, it's page 22 in our,
Mhm.
how about complete and implement? The terminal study, the terminal improvement study.
Okay,
Completely not done.
Complete an act on. I don't know if any hangers in that way is.
Yeah, we don't need.
well,
That's the house.
you have a success indicator linked to that.
I see.
That we came up with in February, so I was responding to what you described as success. And if you're describing it as success, it seems to me you need a strategy to accomplish it. But if that's too granular,
I
we
think
can,
the strategy is to, again, I think it's complete terminal study, but I think the other strategy is to, maintain the
welcome.
welcoming and professionally. Something around just the terminal.
It's a guiding principle rather than a tactic.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's just maintaining our. Quality infrastructure.
Maintain the appearance and. Safety or whatever of our infrastructure.
I think what you're doing is people put it just below the. Probably put it the last one there.
Yep.
Then you got it.
Okay. I'll come up with some wording, you'll have a chance to check it. You also mentioned some aspect of having access. To the airport, a success indicator was having access to the airport.
Yes.
And so the strategy, which I think was on your list as well. Did you want to include that?
I think absolutely.
That could be a part of the terminal study.
But this is actually action that you would be advocating now,
From the city,
For
sort of
whom?
out of our
Who?
control.
right? But to whom you advocate, that will have to be an action item or action plan. But you're writing a letter, you're connecting with council, whatever you're doing, but it is in a strategy.
But when we explored this previously with the city, we kind of told them. Yeah, that's on our list of things to do something in the future. They didn't give us any specific dates today.
Not really.
Yeah,
And it wasn't in the capital, it's not, is it still in the capital CIP?
Off the top of my head, I don't
I
remember.
thought I looked at that it was still listed at no date.
I think it's still in the
Because they
program.
need to improve the Highway 1, Riverside Drive intersection there. So that pedestrians can actually get across, because right now there's no pedestrian crosswalk. It's extremely dangerous intersection. Very hard to get to the airport on foot or on bicycle. So I really think we should advocate for maybe pedestrian and bicycle access, to the airport from Iowa City. It might be a more succinct way of.
Well, and that, it is more general, this is very specific about what you want. Yeah.
I don't know that I necessarily want it to be prescriptive.
They want to build a monorail, that would be okay with me.
It gives you and a miracle to the rest of us.
Okay, bus stop would be fine. Sure, going there.
We have a bus stop right at the,
Oh, it's right there?
yeah, it's right there, yeah. I don't know how many people
Okay.
use it.
It'll become free.
Yeah, I saw
For
that.
a couple of years.
So I have, advocate. Promote, advocate for the.
I think advocate probably
For pedestrian and bicycle access to the airport
from Iowa City,
from downtown.
from downtown,
Whatever. Okay.
from the city center.
Wherever that is. Okay. So these are your success indicators. And these,
And improved airport accessibility maybe to pedestrians and bicycles. That is the last one.
Instead of saying trail wide sidewalk.
Yeah. Which is probably the best solution.
right, but this is a 5-year plan, we don't know
Yeah, we have no idea.
what the plans,
I don't think our terminal study will help us because. We're talking about stuff that the city has to do.
Well, it could. One of the things I remember the city saying is that if we create something that, necessitates access, that it could move that project up.
Like we could get a stoplight there and have.
No,
they walk
we could
over
put
the
our own
sidewalk
Like we
side.
put our trail out to the road.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then they have to do something.
And then, okay, now we gotta start, finding a way. So I do recall there being a bit of a, hey, if you do something on your side, maybe it would cause us to do something
a little concrete on their side, a little. Anything else about wording for these?
Success indicators. Did we have about painters,
I would,
painting
instead of,
painters?
instead of painting hangars, just buildings are well maintained and appear.
Buildings appear.
No,
Whether they are or not.
Buildings are well maintained,
well maintained, and that's probably all.
although that is pretty general, well maintained to one is sometimes
Yeah.
unless to another, but.
But painting isn't enough, right?
Well, true.
Well, we'll do the well maintained. All right.
They're being cleaned now.
Well, we
But they're not
could say
painted.
something about appearance, I'm just trying to find the right words, and say.
Yeah, okay.
So moving on to the community engagement PR goal. So some of the things that I thought here is, that leverage aviation activity to attract the public. These are basically activities that support that, and they can be called out in the plan as, I would call them activities or actions. But you had them called out as at strategy level, and so I thought perhaps folding them in under leveraging aviation activity to attract the public, and then I combine the Fly Iowa and Young Eagles, and wanted to check with you to see if that's an appropriate combination, and then also the Kirkwood the high school tours are also an aviation activity that attracts the public.
Could we just say airport tours to interested groups, because it's not just students. We've given tours to other community organizations, even some of these group homes, the mentally disadvantaged. Fairly regularly come in, we're really excited to see it.
Like those tours with like local representatives.
Yeah, and I don't know, is it our job to promote Young Eagles to fly, you know?
Well, you have that as a strategy, so I wanted to,
I think
Oh, yeah.
that's usually, so Young Eagles is a experimental aircraft association.
I mean, they do good at self-promoting, but. Kind of. I'm not sure I like the reader too, but.
well, and we don't even have to
But
include
they-
those
it's not up
particular.
to us to promote it either, because they provide.
Yeah, as an organization,
Airplanes.
they provide all of the people in their funds.
And it just actively participate with Young Eagles and Fly Iowa activities,
Yes,
so that we're not promoting it, but we keep it in
We don't
mind.
even need to say active, we can say, host,
Oh, that's a good one, yeah.
host Young Eagles and,
Doesn't have to be on this, it could just be like aviation organization events.
Yeah,
and that's my
Yeah.
question. If you want to call out specific groups or do you want to make it more general? What did you call it?
Just aviation organizations,
So I'm going to go to the Kirkwood thing.
aviation organization events.
Okay. You mentioned just calling out airport tours, but this is called out because it's specifically to students who are interested in aviation versus hey, what's the airport all about? Bringing a group home or bringing big brothers, big sisters through here for an activity. So do you want to call this out particularly, or are airport tours enough?
I think airport tours to interested community groups.
I think it's nice to be able to list it.
Including. You could say including high school students and community college,
Okay.
but again, we don't want to get so granular, that's all that we do.
Right. In previous plans, however, you wanted to note specific activities that you wanted to make sure might have the direction and that you were all on the same page that we want this generally, but Young Eagles, for example, Young Eagles specifically, don't, they have to be in the mix, whatever else. So that's the balance I'm asking you about is what do you want to call out specifically? And what is more general?
I like these as specific.
Okay,
High school student and Kirkwood Community College. High school.
senior airport tours for high school and Kirkwood Community College students
Interested in
interested
aviation.
in aviation.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, you could still have another line that's.
And anyone
continuing.
else?
Yeah, and I don't know if you want that as a separate strategy. Is continue tours for.
And-
Community groups, because that's a different kind of tour. And a different emphasis is to trying to get people to come and connect into the airport. I almost see that as a separate strategy.
And it's, in some ways, it's not. Matt may have a comment on this, but it's in some ways not. An airport commission activity to provide these tours, we're actually.
Yeah.
Relying on Jet Air to provide the personnel. And they're paying those personnel to do it. I know, because they paid me to do it. Right, so, and that's nice, but I don't know, we should necessarily. Be saying, hey, let's invite everybody for tours because Jet Air is gonna.
Well, I like that.
Yeah, I'm not assuming, I guess there's not anything in the FBO contract here, Mike, that says that we're supposed to, or anything like that.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
It's just something that we genuinely do.
It works out because typically the things that people in general, even students or non-students, what people want to see are things you guys have. And they can listen to me talk about shuffling paper in an office, but they want to see an airplane and they want to see the
And
maintenance
they
shop.
want to talk, they want to talk.
FAA grant.
Nightmares, nightmares, nightmares.
Yeah, they want to talk to flight inspectors and find out
But
what's
doesn't
about.
that also benefit by getting people interested in aviation, with
Well, yeah, that's,
mechanics and becoming mechanics.
And Jen has been very generous in
Yeah.
supporting these activities.
Okay,
But it may not be appropriate to call out here necessarily, just because we're not the ones doing it.
Well, yeah,
I don't know, I.
would you like us to reword that differently?
I mean, I'm okay with it, because I think that it's always gonna be in the airport's best interest to have somebody. To encourage those kinds of activities to happen, so I mean. I would expect the airport, if we were consistently turning down things like that, to say, hey, you know, that's. Not our goal, so if you haven't stated, here's your goal. I mean, at least you have something you can point to and say, hey, that's what we're trying to accomplish. I think that's a good, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Okay.
Now, you could change, it, you could adjust it however you want to either be more specific or less specific. I do know, I mean, I anticipate other programs getting started in terms of careers through. You know, I would anticipate that aviation programs or, you know, that you could get a little bit less specific maybe for that particular thing, but.
I agree that, so I would say continue
Tours
Right.
to people
Tours
interested in
to-
aviation careers, period, right?
students interested in aviation careers, and you don't have to say high school and Kirkland.
Okay. Okay,
And how, students or people?
Indeed.
People.
Today, they did a tour for a group of folks with disabilities. I mean, it would never have a medical certificate or anything like that, but it's good community stuff.
Right,
Depends on what your goal is. Your
Yeah.
goal is to have a pipeline for like people who are getting into aviation. Great, that's what that is. If it's, we want to build allies in the community because they see what we're doing, great. That's not what that says. Like it needs,
Not true, yeah.
I think it
that's
needs to be
another direction
broad.
though, too.
yeah,
well, the airport tours could be, I mean, that could be called out. Not under the leveraging aviation activity to attract the public, I don't know, I mean,
Well, that's exactly what it is, though, right?
yeah, sure,
They're just two different things, one,
Yeah.
like you were saying.
Yeah.
So we could add another bullet.
yeah. Airport tours interested,
and then not many groups, so they're not defined,
not defined.
not define the Kirkwood Community College and that to say.
Continued tours to people interested in aviation careers, period.
because I think you just discard a giant swath of people who actually come to the airport.
And
When you do that, like, I think that statement's fairly exclusionary. So like, you know, if you have
Yeah.
people who come to the airport with their kids going to the viewing area. We still want to leverage aviation. The reason they're coming here to the airport is because of our aviation.
Yeah.
So we don't want to discourage that.
continue to provide access to the airport for tours and for tours to students and others interested in
I mean, I would just say the public.
to the
To
public.
foster an interest in aviation, to build strong community relationships, or to enhance community relationships, like there's
Yeah.
I could come up, not on the
Right.
spot, but if I sat down and thought about it, I'd come up with a pretty short statement that like encompassed everybody, which says, we want to get people here because we have airplanes.
Continue tours for the public.
Yeah.
Okay. I hear what you're saying, I'll put some wording together, you can massage it. Once you see it. Instead of just calling out Summer of the Arts, I combined it, regular community events, including the partnership with the Summer of the Arts.
Excellent.
And then a suggestion to be more proactive in this community engagement PR goal is to seek out new and possibly use the word diverse organizations that may be interested in aviation activities or using the airport facilities as an event location. So some proactivity, because you're doing some things and a lot of your strategies are continuations of what you're doing well. But are there a few outreach types? I mean, is that even possible? I don't know. But even that would be something that the commission could even take on.
Yeah, and it'll be easier once we had a terminal, a design project, perhaps looking forward to having more space you know, that we can host some such
This
activity.
is only a 5-year plan.
Oh, but it's, yeah, it's vague enough.
Yeah.
But even within this facility, I mean, one of my favorite airports is in Germany. And it's no bigger than this, and we had a small wedding reception there. In a room not much bigger than this.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've got space and it's not.
Yeah, it would be a unique venue for a wedding.
A reception, it wasn't a wedding, but it was a
Well, it
reception.
would be.
Great for the wedding, right?
But for small.
Yeah.
small gathering.
I don't know if we've had receptions at the airport.
I got engaged in this
We've
room.
had proposals. We've had
I'm out here somewhere.
I mean, this is a nice room for small.
birthday parties, graduation parties, we've had. We've had things, it depends on. The type of activity, because this room is great for 20-30 people.
Right.
And if you have something larger, then
It's a
it's,
challenge.
how do we get jet air to, hey, we need a hangar.
And hangars are, I mean, they go through cycle where we build something, oh, we've got room, and then within a year, we're not, doing
Also
it.
noise.
Sounds to me like you need to invest in some of that tents.
Yeah.
Now that here's.
Jet air and jet air,
Don't really, actually, I need to work with and,
Yeah.
you know, absolutely provide space on a number of
I mean,
occasions.
that's something we can work
It's-
out between Jet Air as another line of income for you.
Yeah, there you go. Do event space.
Yeah, you could just, you
host
could
weddings.
manage the events and
Sure.
at least have space to use and.
So do you want to include this
I
strategy?
like,
I like
I
that.
like,
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to use new, diverse, what, any particular wording?
and diverse,
New and would be fine.
or I would just say, just seek out diverse organizations, doesn't have to be.
And like this afternoon, we had, or this morning throughout the day, we had a group from Procter and Gamble came here and was watching stuff related to the Asian Pacific API Heritage celebration, so
Yeah.
it's being used.
Regular scouting group that meets here too now.
Off and on.
And so, I mean,
We've got a scout group that comes out, we've got a writers group that comes out. The neighborhood centers comes out every once in a while. Couple of realtors use it because they know about it.
I don't think you're promoting, I don't think that people know enough. about
Are
this.
we-
It might be,
Charging for their use of the room,
Not general.
well, there we go.
We don't want to discourage.
No, but if people are gonna have a wedding reception here, they.
For things like that, we can charge a deposit. And as long as the room's put back together, they get the deposit back.
So we don't.
But we're looking for, you know,
So that's more to cover in case we have to come up here for 3 hours and clean up.
could be something you're looking to for
Yeah.
your.
We have-
With financial strategies, but my
It's
question,
no different than renting tanks.
Yeah.
It's space that can be.
has to be cleaned and.
electricity,
Electricity,
yeah.
heating.
We have a rental policy in the room, just when we wrote it, we wrote it so it's really difficult to find it how we charge. Because at the time, we wanted people to use the room. Now, if we wanted to go back and revisit that, we certainly can.
We'd probably like to use the room, and we'd like to. Have a reasonable compensation. for it.
Yeah, but to your point, most people don't know that this.
right, and so you have a lot of things going, you're doing a lot of public community good sort of neighbor, all these groups are coming out here. But I don't think that many people know about it. And so maybe if you do the room together for free, it's promotion on their social media as well as, or something, or some hashtag, I don't know.
You say working with, the caterers in the community and starting with them. Or the planners, just letting them know this. They know that, and they come to the clients. And they've got.
Yeah. I would recommend. So we'll leave that in and you can decide on that, but I think that
There's nothing on my site about it.
No, well, no, there is space for events, it's just, it hasn't been updated, but
That's a, I mean, event we're talking about, that space.
yeah, like. To contact you and we have spaces available. There's.
It's hard to
not-
find
not able to
spaces.
find it.
Yeah. I mean, even within the, public, you know, we have the students. It's hard to find space.
So maybe, and I think you've got something on there that's an about,
I was gonna say,
about,
I'm sure we have.
Somewhere.
but maybe it's gotta be a little more prominent where it's meeting
Oh,
in the.
okay, yeah, so now that we've had that website up for a while, maybe we take a look at it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, take a look at your stats and see who's, I mean, how people get there.
Bottom line, it's gotta show up on Google Maps search. I'm serious. I mean, if I do anything and serve with Google Maps, type in hotels, type in restaurants,
Venues.
venues. If it shows up on venues, then things will happen. And I'm gonna do a little bit.
I mean, I moved Jet Air to the right place, so I think we can figure that out.
Can you move Hertz off of this place?
Probably.
We get people that come in almost once a week to drop off a Hertz car
The problem is Hertz website shows you as a drop off.
as a drop off spot, yeah.
It's on Google Maps actually Hertz.
Yeah, I suppose we just start taking their keys and calling Hertz until they get
Yeah.
picked off.
It's very hard.
We got your keys.
Financial strategy.
Clients get mad when they get charged an extra day because they never took the credit back.
That's true, yeah.
Additional strategies under this goal, key partners, possible activities to involve the community in mural activities. And then I changed this to a 4, and then providing financial support for the mural project. Those were 2 things that you had mentioned.
Do we want to, since this is a 5-year plan, do we really want to time box ourselves to just the mural?
I would.
Yeah, so I would say something like for.
Public art, infrastructure.
No, it's not infrastructure, it's more like. It's almost beautification, but that's not really the word I want to use.
You call it land side. It's land side of the earth.
Yeah.
Land side, development projects.
Yeah,
Identify key partners for landside development projects.
yeah,
Or Toronto side.
Use the wording that the foundation has.
What is it?
I was gonna look my road down.
Yeah, you can match.
And do you want the providing financial support crossed off as well?
say that again?
The second bullet point.
No, it was, I'm sorry, I was talking about the second bullet point that, as it says for the mural project, both I think need to be more general than just the mural.
Okay,
Because that project, like, if we have our way, that project.
Well, the wording is in the letter that.
We saw by this fall.
Yeah, so,
Beautification. Let's see.
Yeah, it's-
Development and beautification project.
Development enhancement and support of
So what,
airport funding, the general support, no, upkeep, beautification and capital improvements to buildings, equipment and ground. I think beautification
that is the
word.
all right.
What if it's development and beautification
I
project?
think.
Okay.
Is your.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Do you want to say anything that we're supporting local partners? Or
I don't want to box ourselves in.
It is a 5 year, I mean, it's.
Because one of the others that. This guy that did, what all the stuff in like Minnesota, in Milwaukee, yeah, where was he based out of?
Milwaukee,
Oh, was he? I thought he, okay, there was somebody else who did it, was like. Yeah,
Virginia.
from Virginia.
yeah,
He was more of a kind of just starting out. He was the one that submitted that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so like, I don't want to necessarily limit ourselves to local, because.
Right.
And I don't understand.
Yeah, because I'd invite him back if we were to do another one. In fact, I was thinking that you could do the hangar behind the front hangar and still get a lot more public art, even though it's a little, it's not right on the road, it would still add to the overall experience.
Yeah.
So can this strategy read, identify key partners to provide financial support for landside or terminal site development and beautification projects?
I think so, because I think when we were thinking about this originally, it was even to the point of naming rights for any term. But if you had a major benefactor that stepped up with a couple of million, would we name that this person only named terminal? I was clear.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, I'll combine these, to make them less specific to the mural project. I think you have some success indicators to there.
But what I was thinking more is like, if we can include something regarding art, not necessarily local per se, but even later on. The terminal, if we decide to do anything with the terminal, if we get sculpture or.
We call them beautification.
Yeah,
But I think she's calling out that maybe a separate line for public art. And I would say the public art.
Development.
Promote and encourage, promote and encourage the use of airport space for public art.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's perfect. Use of airport property or public.
Because beautification can be just like, you're just painting.
Right.
Flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think to the point of, you know, the mural is one example. Like the sculpture is another example.
Okay, all right. And. Right. So, these are not included, but you don't have any measurements for how you, for those strategies about aviation activities, so I'm suggesting that you put some success indicators. These are just some, you know, numbers are good agreement sorts of things, because 6 might be success for one person, you know, 17 might be success for another. So if we say it's successful because you got 6 people here or did 6 events, the person who believes 17 is the number is not going to think that you were successful. So how do you want to describe how you're going to measure your success for aviation activities or hosting activities?
at least one. Quarterly would be kind of hard depending on the weather and what's going on.
I'd say 2 a year.
Yeah, and you're talking about young eagle kinds of things.
Yeah.
But can you do aviation and community activities, and that way you don't have to say 1 or 2, but we can
Yep, you
do
could.
more than, because we do a lot more community.
Yeah, I think the aviation ones are important, though. I want to try, like, I mean, pandemic aside. I think it's probably important that we try to push for young people events. I think that gets kids out to the airport. That's always a good pipeline for aviation. So I think there's
at least 2 young eagle or similar events each year.
there's
Well, I made it general with aviation activities.
On this one, you would like to name out.
But yeah,
like, the young people?
Well, I don't know that I'm not calling out young eagles in this statement. I'm just like using it generally. I think that's like an example of one of those that we should keep trying to do. Maybe there's, I mean, there have been planes that have stopped in like DC-3s and stuff like that have stopped in before that, you know, they kind of turn it into a thing.
Yeah, they're doing it and then pandemic.
Yeah.
Here, what we're trying to do is success indicators. That's what I was thinking. If we can group the aviation activities with the community activities, then we can just show more than just 1 or 2 per quarter.
Right, but he wanted to call out the aviation activities to measure
That's right.
success.
Definitely. Because I think those are important on their own, but I still think it's important to have, and the reason I like calling out 6 public events a year is because that includes things like pancake breakfast and like the movies and autocross and like all the other stuff.
And some of the arts, I mean, you count those
Right.
I
because
see
they're.
those as 2 different metrics, because if we have all these public events and we have no aviation ones, that to me is a problem, like.
Okay.
Can we just say,
What you said.
just say several instead of 1?
Well, several is not specific. You want to have like, because in 5 years, I'm not trying to do your job. In 5 years, when we come back, okay, how good did we do? And we say, well, we only did 4, you know, then we're like, okay, well, we need to figure out how do we promote this more.
Several per year.
Several, I won't allow several.
Okay.
I won't allow that word, I hate that word, and it's an indicator.
The acronym is SMART, specific, measurable, actionable, realistic and time based.
I'm just trying to avoid the
Okay.
fights down the road. Were we successful? We haven't, yeah.
1%.
I wouldn't say 1 month, I would say then 12.
And that's why I said, what about per
Yeah.
quarter? I mean, for
Exactly.
per
And I
year.
would do, I do it on a yearly basis.
So maybe
Yearly,
the-
rather
the
than
young
quarterly.
people have that just once a year?
Because they'll go through all of the airports and read.
Yeah, and let's worry about the word per quarter.
I don't do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want annual, that's fine.
It's annual.
I'm just
But there was
pushing this,
another,
but
Yeah.
the city and I'm pushing,
it was young adult and something.
so would four be success? Aviation activities, four?
I think 4 is a stretch, but I think
Put it at 6.
6 aviation events a year.
Oh, aviation.
Yeah.
I think
but 6.
4 would be a stretch goal.
4 is a stretch.
2 is probably realistic.
How about three?
2, 3,
Because,
Do you think we can do 3?
June, July, and August.
so
I mean, you're gonna have young eagles, it depends on what you classify the pancake breakfast.
are you gonna have a tour for people who are interested in aviation careers?
When the museum was coming and aviation stuff.
Or
Well,
does it?
Those are more.
That's more- I would say that's more like-
necessarily-
That's more of like
We do
a 6
thing
month
during the Scotch week to promote, more flight routes, we'll waive our, fuel fee during that week or something.
Wait, it's not really the one.
We're gonna knock out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much that the airport commission has purview over.
Yeah.
So that's the other issue, like, yeah, we can do an open house, we can, it
Would
takes.
you be happy with two?
I think two.
2 feels attainable to me.
Yeah. I
We
mean,
kind of overdo.
2 is what we're doing. 3 would be, 3 is like where the stretch goal is, and 4, I think, is on the table.
Okay. So do you
That's my
want to
take.
stretch or, I mean, you've got a lot on your plate.
There's a lot going on.
So I would say two seems
Two
like a
are
big
big planning
planning.
already.
And then if you hit three,
I don't know,
Our bonuses for aviation events is usually when you hit that DC3 that's transit. We can bounce and, just advertise for a day, like they're gonna be here.
Yeah.
Let's do a B-17.
well, so let's do two per year because you're.
Yeah, so it's all way too much for
That'd be good.
their takeoff goal is too long.
And how about your public events? 6, is that a good amount? I mean, that's partners as well as,
The audit process and 6.
it's in partnership and it's also.
Yeah, we're getting 3 autocross, we got the movie night,
You got pancake.
we got pancake breakfast, so you're at 5 right there,
Yeah.
just kind of non.
Well, and then
Specific.
would it include like the scouts meeting using building here?
I mean, it's your
Yeah,
metric.
so
I mean,
It's not really.
Like would have to mean that anybody could,
Okay.
because the scouting, that would be specific to that.
So why don't we say 6?
That
A
sounds,
little more.
Well, given that the
Okay.
goal is community engagement, and not engagement.
Right.
okay,
Yeah, I think that
just change it.
good.
The year.
Yes, I did. 2 a year for the aviation.
So what would it require to do? I mean,
It's a,
More effort to identify and organize and make it happen.
and then we have to convince them to come in.
Okay, next.
So these these are very specific success indicators from our discussion. I will make them more general to reflect what you said about development, beautification and public art, okay? I'll just work on these
Okay.
instead of, us going through them tonight. I mean, I heard what you said, you wanted something more general. So we'll just,
Before you get too far, because I don't want to. I want to kind of follow up on that individual conversation about what
okay,
aviation events are, or for like bringing in airplanes. Typically to bring in something specific, like if you're gonna. Like come here, you either have to guarantee a minimum income. Or. I mean, that's primarily what it is. You have to guarantee they're gonna make X amount of dollars to enter.
and how would they make the money?
They sell rides or they sell, like the EAA B-17, It's, they go up for rides and like each seat's $400 or $500.
Yeah.
Oh. And I think they still charge like $20 just to walk inside it, if I remember right. So it depends on the group, that's kind of the issue is. There'll be different levels depending on what it is, there's different capabilities that we can handle as far as roadway lengths, things like that. But generally, yeah, you're gonna guarantee a minimum level of income to be here and spend a couple of days. Some of them get a little bit more in terms of providing cars and hotels, and it becomes a bit of a hassle.
We would have to provide the car and hotel.
Potentially, yeah. Where what's happened in the past because. They've either been associated with previous events like Fly Iowa or, you know, when they landed here just randomly, like one year. We were able to do all of this stuff for them and, you know, they made it $1,500 just being, you know, just showing up. We had that relationship with those crews that they started coming back. And we never really had to offer them anything other than what we typically do, just be nice and promote them and like, hey, they're gonna be here, come on down, you should get a ride, that kind of stuff.
Now, speaking of Oshkosh, is there something we can do to advertise, hey, we're a friendly place, stop here on your way to?
There's
Our fuel prices are,
are already pretty low.
yeah, exactly.
But if you wanted to waive the storage fee for the weekend or the week, that's up to you. That's a budget issue.
That sounds like.
Logistically, it's probably not beneficial, but we could do Jet Air, like to do the flowage fee thing. I think we pay that at the start, but I think we would just. And knowing that you have an interest in doing that, I think we would Titan Aviation Fuels, our fuel supplier, would push out an email blast if we were to do a discount and advertise it. So we'll just plan to do that. We'll do like for the week, we'll do like self-service, full service price or something like that. Or full.
I would advise too is, you know,
Yeah.
can we have like, you know, popcorn machine going that week or can we have?
Someone flipping burgers.
Yeah, just something like, well, I think I'm out. Burgers, just that people eat.
Food trucks operate on the same principle. You're gonna guarantee them minimum income.
Food truck does,
But beyond that,
yeah.
catering, we could just say we want to spend for, you know, the first 100 people and that's it.
Something like that.
Can we-
We just.
But aren't there already a lot of people that come through here on the way to Oshkosh? Can we deal with more flights coming in?
Oh, yeah, we did. Construction.
File that for them to know that this will happen every
Okay.
year.
Okay, should we go back to this?
Sorry.
Okay,
Getting sidetracked.
yeah, getting sidetracked.
Well, and
Kind of strategic.
we used to get more Oshkosh traffic when the hotel over there would host their Oshkosh swimming and event, because they literally hosted, the previous owners hosted like Oshkosh event because they were aviation too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we could go past.
Thank
this
you, Mike,
page,
for
or whatever.
explaining.
I have a question. Do you want a success indicator of a particular public art project in addition to the mural in this 5-year plan? You mentioned promotes and encourage use of the airport property for public art.
I'd like to see one more art project. I would too.
But I don't want to specify what it is.
No public.
No, public art.
Public
If
art.
this is the success indicator, if you have the strategy, are you gonna measure your success by having another project? That's my question.
Another project.
Within the next 5 years, I think another.
Yeah, we complete the project.
Initiated.
Not gonna say whether it's sculpture.
We can get it.
That's far too much.
Get it or keep it.
Yeah. Good to her.
Yeah.
Actually, that would.
Okay,
Throw it over.
that
Okay.
gives me the information I need about this.
I know it's not a specific goal, but can we make this something that we can discuss really soon?
In the agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Once we get done with finance.
This will be in the member discussion section.
Okay, because.
Yeah.
Oshkosh
Let's
is coming up.
keep going through this.
Yeah, but I think that's I mean,
We can
I
do it
get
later.
it, but like, I think
Yeah.
you're onto something, and if we're gonna do it, we have to do it, we have to talk about it tonight.
Yeah.
or next week, or next month, because.
Getting close. Not at this spot.
Well, no, well, we got time.
She's the executive here, and she's keeping us on track. Yeah.
So you have a lot of, in this communication collaboration goal, you have a lot of very specific sorts of things. And I'm suggesting that once again, they all fall into a 6 months communication action plan or schedule. And so then you do something like this. Invite the department heads, connect with city boards. So you have these listed, so you don't lose track of them, but they all fold into a plan. Does that make sense?
Yes.
As kind of a way to organize these strategies? Because everything that you list, present the adopted strategic plan, participate in one city council work session, would be part of that communication and action plan.
Yes.
Okay,
Is it, Michael's already doing that?
No, we're
inviting them
here.
here.
Oh, in here, okay,
Yeah.
I was thinking we already have those connections.
No,
yeah,
Have that
you
here, okay.
specifically about Mike has those connections, but you don't have board and commission representatives or others coming out looking for collaborative opportunities. I mean,
Okay,
you
I
guys are
understand.
good at coming up with ideas, and just listen to what you just did is looking for those opportunities to collaborate and then asking Mike to follow up, I think is the way of it.
Okay,
But I thought maybe folding them all into this.
okay, that makes sense then.
Okay, so we'll do that. This is pretty specific. So is it continue work with the public art committee? And then something about using the airport as a location for public art?
Yeah, I think you remove the hangar mural project and you use it as. We are, to your point, you were like public art, right?
So we'll put that thing that we made general here. And then you had something about Parks and Rec. Are there current projects that are going on that I couldn't remember the conversation?
Well, they're doing something
Across-
across the river, the old ferry landing.
Yeah, they're going to put in a better parking area / shelter picnic area over on Sturgis Ferry. But I think predominantly it was because Parks and Rec as a department is in control of the trail system.
Right. So we definitely.
The coordination was to get the trail on Riverside Drive, and that was the driving intent.
That's,
So should we specifically call out Parks and Rec, I guess is my question. Is there something that needs?
instead of develop, should we just say explore additional,
Yeah.
invite them
You
here.
could,
So that'd be,
but you're gonna explore with all boards and commissions, but you wanna call them out specifically.
I think it's a high priority for her.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard, but, okay.
Are they gonna be the ones in the sidewalk?
It would be.
Yeah, they're trail. Well, and depending upon what they do across the road, there might be something that
They
you,
might be very close, if they're developing something there, just be a little bit further to make it to there.
It's got part of the trail in plan.
okay. So I'll keep that in, but I'll put explore. Is it additional or? is it-
Collaborative projects.
Okay, it's not additional, okay. And then success indicators would be the implementation of that plan. So you are presenting the adopted plan, you're doing an annual report and all those kinds of things. You put this in, completion of the hangar mural project was a success indicator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
And completion of collaborative projects, that's where it came from. It was a success indicator, but that wasn't a strategy. Do you want to put that as an indicator, given that you don't have a specific project with them yet?
I would suggest we can't include something that we don't find out. And they might not be able to do it in the time frame of 5 years.
Right, I'll just drop that on. Okay. So now let's move on to
funding.
Yeah, and these are pretty straightforward, and I didn't have any. But take a look if you have any changes. We have a number of strategies here in this one. This is just the first page of them.
That letter we're sending out is exploring the private donation, so. That's
Well, and I think it will be one of the steps, right? If you
Yeah.
do another public art project or any heavy, the Chernobyl study might suggest. And then we talked about regularly examining how to use the airport's assets. I think these are pretty,
Oh, okay.
yeah. The only question that I have is on success indicators, because we get into a several sorts of wording with healthy. What's a healthy reserve fund? For you, this might be healthy, for you, it might be sick. Do you want to set a goal? Do you want to put a number, a percentage of the
I'd say-
budget?
Percentage of your rate. Budget, which
Makes sense.
certain budget 400 now, yeah, roughly. I'd say 25%. Do you have a number?
Okay, that's
Because it
great.
was at that, I want that.
That's where it's still at.
That's great.
It may
I
be-
love, yeah. Maintain. Well, and as
That's
your
the-
budget
that's the
grows, that's
emergency fund, or is that-
Well, that's the emergency.
That's the emergency fund.
So we,
So is
we
it,
have,
so is it emergency fund or capital?
well, that I.
Oh, what is the reserve fund?
That's a good
That's-
question,
It's a good question.
because the reserve, so the reserve fund is like,
We have an emergency reserve fund that's got $100,000.
Yep.
Generally, right now, our cash on hand is about $80,000.
yeah, and it was in excess of 100,000.
Yeah, I mean, it
It fluctuates as that's everybody's change.
Yeah.
So does the success indicator refer to the emergency reserve fund or the cash on hand?
Cash on hand. Is my opinion.
That's my
I think it should be that.
That's our discretionary. The emergency fund is what we gotta go to the city has, right?
No.
No, that's just emergency.
We just
We-
declare a phone emergency and this is what we
You
use.
said it's cash on hand still. I mean, it's.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right,
So we have 100,000 plus.
Yes.
80.
I more or less don't even think about the
I don't
emergency
either.
fund ever, because that's like the rainy day fund for an emergency.
Yeah.
it's literally an emergency. All right,
I mean, it's like another emergency fund so far. We haven't seen the emergency that we want to use it.
Yeah.
We hope not to.
And the pandemic was probably as close as we got in recent memory, and it turned out that was actually. We came out okay.
Yes.
okay. That's, so I'll develop the full document with these. The section of the plan, I mean, it describes the process and all those kinds of things. You can alter any part of it, but we'll focus on the plan itself. And is the mayor coming next month?
The mayor is on schedule for next month since we had the fifth meeting, been quite aligned with what he was able to do. So
Okay. So,
this presentation next.
so what I'd like to do is have you have that draft, so if there's something that's communicated in that, we can kind of work. We can change anything that needs to be changed, but if there are things that you want to reflect from the council's plan and make changes in this plan, you have the draft to do that. Does that sound like a way you'd like to proceed?
Sounds good.
Okay, all right. Thanks, you guys have been great. Thanks for getting specific.
And then less specific today.
Okay, on to airport construction projects. Okay, grant project.
Someone has. Too many pages. Okay,
Runway 25.
what's my list? Where do we start?
Runway 25 threshold relocation.
Painters came out on Monday, did some type of work. We've got a few other areas of paint that are breaking down that they're gonna have to come back and redo from last fall. Other than that, I think, most part of things are looking pretty good, a little bit of cleanup, a little bit of dirt work and some seeding.
Yeah, it looks great in the air. Chris and I were out like.
You tried it out, huh?
And,
Best looked in here.
But yeah, it's, I mean, for all practical purposes, obviously it's been usable since last fall. Runway 1230 displaced threshold, getting contracts put together and signed with a Metro or the contractor. Outside of that, we we've submitted the grant application for that work as well. So we'll be expecting FAA email at some point in the future, so we can fill out this stuff for the grants. But yeah, it's on schedule, I guess, as far as schedule can be.
Happy for 3-0, we're anticipating.
Yes, the funding, just like we awarded for the project, funding will include the money to cover the packages and it is for 3-0.
And the timeline for the project starting and completion date is.
To be determined, because within the contract, we told them they couldn't start until they had all of their supplies. So right now, the best I got for you is keep them going.
Okay. But hoping for.
I mean, honestly, if they, by some miracle, they get it in the summer, they could do it this summer, otherwise probably looking at sometime next year.
This is not tied to a approach or anything like the last one, so they're not. We don't have to wait and phase it around that they finish which works, so it makes it easier time on it.
Yeah, because the threshold is still in the same place.
But yeah, the main concern was because the electrical stuff still has such a ridiculous lag time. That we wanted to make sure when we were shutting down the runway, but things were being done rather than having a bunch of starts and stops.
That's a good idea.
Terminal area study, same thing, grant application is submitted for that. Contracts are signed and
We got our subcontract back from Younger today. Signed by those.
solar power project, CMT guys were out Tuesday? Yesterday. Too many things going on. They were out yesterday doing the engineering review of the shop and OPL Sanger just to confirm what was there to make sure the plant solar powered solar panels that are going on the roof are structurally sound. So it's in progress, a lot of background stuff happening, just not a lot of visual things, but it's moving forward. The South T Hangar infrastructure, the taxi lane is poured. Mostly, they've got a couple of drain intakes that they got to pour around. They were doing some backfilling today, so that should be wrapped up with the end of the winter. Then I do have a couple of discussions going on with possible people building hangars. So yeah,
Promising ones or just.
I think things that these are things that have ones that have a good chance of ultimately being built.
Awesome.
Terminal building improvements, this one, Carl, is you probably, I don't know.
With getting the federal and getting the state apps out,
Yeah,
hopefully the breather I can now turn to those. Those are two small quotes. We'll be getting packets put together and I have now haven't made any nominations.
The FY24 program, so that was in your packet. What I put in the packet was the kind of the summary of both things that we've been talking about recently. The rest of the taxi lanes on the south side and the fuel system updates, which changes out the front end cabins where fuel gets put in and taken out of the storage tanks. Mainly so you can see what kind of costs we're looking at. We don't have enough money for everything. That's just unfortunately that's the situation we're in. So what my proposal is going to be is we submit a grant application for the fuel system, take care of the front end cabinets, do a little bit of piping to change the way the Jet A works a little bit so that we have both independent tanks that we can put fuel into, take fuel out of, recycle, do all the things that need to be done that we can't quite efficiently do right now. The system's not terrible, it works, it self-levels, it does everything that the project called for, but operationally, it's not working. And that's a lesson learned more than anything. And so that is gonna be roughly a 400.
390,000.
That says 390.
Yeah, at 85% match, that gets us about $70,000 of local match. Out of our $100,000 is kind of right there. The rest of that's gonna go to our paving repairs and stuff for the next paving project.
The 100,000 city matching.
Yes.
It's
And
not,
then-
not our burdens.
No, it's not our emergency fund, that's $100,000 that
Yeah.
the city gives us every year for grant.
Yeah, yes, okay.
And then in the interim, as I'm hoping some of these hangars develop like like I'm expecting, or like these conversations would appear to show. We can use that as leverage to go back to the city and be like, hey, give us an extra 50 grand for matching. Because,
What sort of
it's working.
acres will this be?
well, that becomes a kind of an issue of itself, because we only have the one strip
Yeah,
that you can build against.
we can't really have T hangers.
They're gonna end up being boxes, if anybody builds right now. And that's because you're gonna have to have doors face the concrete that you have.
Yeah.
The one individual I'm talking with, we're looking at potentially 3 that are gonna be 50 deep, which is the existing building depth, and then 61. So there'll be sizable hangars.
At the moment, just cold storage type, but bigger.
Yeah.
So you don't need to expand the
So-
facility,
I guess my,
sewer, water, electric.
Well, we don't have water in the area, and I'm not anticipating putting water in the area. That would be something that we need to talk about if we wanted to do that at some point in the future. Gas and electrical are right there already.
Or
But
extended that far.
yeah, they were extended in the area when Mr. Terry Edmonds built an individual one up south side, so that stuff is covered.
I'm just wondering what this would do in terms of. Helping our deficit of hangar space for the large number of people who are waiting for hangars. Is this just like a perk for the 3 rich guys to build,
It'll help because they're also hangar waiting list folks, and they have the means to be able to build hangars.
Right now, I'm at capacity turning people away for like our storage space.
right?
And so my guess is he will probably target, which I'm encouraging him to do, to try to target some of those people renting expensive space from me. To take some of that, but then also some prospects of his could be. There's gotta be at least 2 or 3 people, Mike, that have multiple T hangers on the field,
Oh, yeah, there's a couple of groups or
you
a
know,
couple of individuals that are either partners in multiple airplanes or.
Because
actually have multiple
if
hangars.
we could get some of those drawn out. To clear out 4 T hangars or something like that, that would be just as good from the airport standpoint. There's also as much more flexible space for the airport standpoint. That'd be great. In my opinion, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, it clears out some of the inventory. Thanks for.
I just think we have to be careful about appearances. So.
Yeah.
We have a large amount of federal money building, a taxiway for 3 people.
Well, it's state, but.
It's state, okay.
It's
Yeah,
state,
yeah.
but it's also,
Yeah.
these people would do it anyway if they had. Like, they don't, it's similar to if you build it, the city will bring the thing to it. Without concrete, they didn't have anything to build it on before, they would have done it anyway. If we had had that option, so like, I agree, the
I say
opposite.
we have to just be careful.
Well,
about
it also
appearance
does
of-
start the process, I think Mike and I've talked about before, giving you an alternate access in and out of the T hangar area, or the whole hangar area, as opposed to just this one. So that as pavement maintenance, or if anything happens in certain areas, not everybody's caught, they have another way out.
Hmm.
Like out that way
Yeah.
towards 3-0.
Yeah, it's 2-0.
Yeah, which is always, I don't know if that's on the master plan or not, but it's always been discussed.
It's,
I don't remember.
There's no parallels of that access.
I don't think the access piece is on it, but the problem taxiway to it is on there. And I've got sketches for.
Yeah.
Is there anything possible just for the future, using the old runway, 3-6 for. Like a taxiway for building hangars alongside, is that far enough away from the current
I mean, yeah, if you look at the master plan, there's a whole complex on the southwest side of the airport that implicates everything we have.
There's a lot you could do.
So it's,
I mean, so it's just for me to get clear, these new hangars going in. Is that an opportunity to privatize some hangar rental that we would be saying here, if you're going to build hangars, you can rent those out to other individuals? Is that?
not necessarily, and
I
a
mean-
lot of it might be part of the negotiations on, but right now, the general conversation is they're gonna build the hangar. They're gonna lease the ground for X amount of time. At the end of that ground lease, the building becomes ours.
Right.
In the interim. Now, that has been a topic that's been asked about, and I gave them, that would be something that we need to talk with the commission about primarily, because. Right now, the only people we allow to sublease hangar space is JET.
Yeah. But in the interest of our backlog and our ability to finance our own new hangars, would there be a win-win in permitting some of the people who are building new hangars to say, if you're going to build one, build two, and be sure to lease that other one out that takes pressure off of us on this side? I'm not saying you'd be that prescriptive, but I'm just saying, is there an opportunity if someone's willing to go ahead and invest in the hangars that we don't think we can justify?
I think there could be an opportunity there. And some of the conversation is because the new one is clearly just building one by itself.
Right.
But if you build multiple ones, you have, and I think, and you had that conversation. Past commissions have had that conversation to some degree where, okay, but we're gonna cap it and charge for it for something like that, because you're also competing with us for hangar space.
Well, they're not.
But, I mean, they're not, they are, but it gets.
Kind of what I'm getting at is, I mean, anything, if they charge more, that's not hurting us. We prefer to be charging the lowest price. And to the extent that they're offering space that frees us, I mean, that clears our backlog of people, if that's really our concern, is that we can't support the community, those who would like to have space.
I think it's a huge concern. I've talked to lots of people who are thinking about buying airplanes. I don't think I agree with it. That's why I was wondering about the whole runway 36.
Yeah, I got the flood maps up too, just kind of looking at that.
That's kind of higher ground, I believe.
That we're on.
It's all in the 100 year.
That's all.
You gotta get in that lower corner, that corner here before you kind of get up out of it, but that space there, I was thinking about,
That's
the
what
flying
all
community, and I don't know if we've
crosses,
ever talked about flying communities, but actually offering up the ability to buy parcels and build your house with a hangar.
Yeah, the FAA doesn't really like those these days.
Didn't know.
They're not fans of them, because eventually they get, whatever reason, somebody buys them, the banks buy them, resell them, some people buy them and then they don't make the airport. And then there's a big hassle because you bought a house and a hangar on an airport.
Well, and this would, my suggestion, but you actually sell the parcel off, so it's not a part of the airport, but there's a
We
connection.
can't sell any airport land.
Without city
I
approval.
think the
Without
council
city
has to approve selling land.
Yeah, but that's.
We have this airport.
Yeah,
That's
But it's,
Could make a recommendation to council.
I would not be in favor of selling more airport. But yeah, just back with the hangar, I tossed around the idea, but yeah, the other issue becomes how are we managing our grant assurances for security, and that becomes a big thing that is not easily overcome. Because even if you were to sell off it's easier if they were on the airport property, which has its whole host of issues. But if you sell off the ground, so it's now you're giving somebody private access to it, which becomes a issue.
Well, we can take this. That's just, it was just a question, so appreciate it.
On to the parking lot.
Parking lot, the company, and they were supposed to come out and do a little bit more seating, that hasn't happened. I'm working with the city engineer and just get things cleaned up so we can accept it and move on, and if we need to do a little, spend a couple $100 to clean it up, but otherwise, project's done, obviously people have been using it, it's great.
Is there being any opposition to like putting maybe 4 trees on each corner of that center section just to get things going? That's something that's gonna be relatively easy to maintain and not a burden on the airport, obviously.
I think we need to look at what our final plans are gonna be,
True, fair enough.
see what it's gonna look like visually for everything before we put the trees in.
Permanent study.
Juvenile study.
But the parking spots are going anywhere, so we just pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sharon Buckland's.
No. There you go. Okay, future projects.
I don't have anything here other than obviously we're racking up kind of a laundry list of things, taxiways, hangar lane, mural, you know.
Yeah.
It's a laundry list, so at some point in time, maybe before our next budget our budget season. We might want to just look at a prioritization type meeting or spend some time after the
Yeah.
strategic plan's done, taking a little list of. The things that are in the master plan, the things that we're going to talk about, and maybe a scratch out of priority level.
Sounds good. Budget?
Budget, we're in May. This is, we got about 45 days of the fiscal year left, and we were doing pretty good, and then we had a hangar door that catastrophically failed. I mean, it's not gonna blow the budget, but it did hurt.
Was it? Which one?
One of the worst ones,
The manual ones or the power ones?
no, the powered ones, because of course.
Yeah, right. Those chain ones don't break.
Chain ones don't break.
They suck, but they don't break.
But yeah, we just got that one taken.
Good for the environment.
It took about 2 weeks.
Good for the environment.
Yeah, right.
So.
Yeah, it's like
We're-
40 calories. Still.
We're. Management, nothing there.
Yes.
Events, you can see what we got planned out for the summer. Young Eagles is the next thing coming up, June 3rd. I kind of alluded to, I'm not super happy with how they're doing it, but it's working. It's their thing. They have 70 slots allocated for flights right now. 64 of them are ready or pre-registered already. So, and that's without any advertising. So I haven't done anything. I haven't promoted it.
Right, you haven't had to,
So,
nor should.
but, well, it feels like we're gonna have an event that nobody knows about, other than people that are clued into Young Eagles because they're
Yeah.
airplane fans rather than having things that are drawing the community to the airport.
I see, so they didn't advertise.
I don't know what they got. I haven't seen it.
Okay,
So I think these are people that are watching the events and I have my assumptions, I guess, and that's not a great thing, but
I mean, mention it to the newspapers, to the.
well, the problem is with only 6 more slots.
Yeah.
If 30 more people come on every wanting to flight, that's not gonna happen. And then you got 30 kids that are bad and parents that are unhappy because they came out to the airport for flying and they're getting told there's no.
You wanna watch kids learn this or something. Or this,
I think it's gonna be a big event,
It'll be an event.
okay,
because the whole family gets. to
Yeah.
go there.
And share it as the sold out event. They kind of watch,
Yeah,
Sure.
usually the area downstairs. Which
Oh, yeah.
okay, so it's not that we need, okay.
No, we don't need to attract people, but I think we're.
After
I
the
think
fact,
we're-
say that it was done,
Is where this whole thing is, so like it just isn't attracting. Extra community.
It's not attracting people who don't come here already.
Yeah,
But maybe something about it after the fact, saying this was done and look forward to it for next year or something. Well, anyway,
I don't know, yeah, I don't know, I'm torn.
okay,
I mean, it's still something that obviously we want to do and.
yeah,
You know, as far as an event, it gets young people in everything's,
that's what we,
but yeah, I'm.
okay,
Explore on social media afterwards.
yeah. Okay, on to FBO. Ready for that?
Sure. Yeah.
I'll be quick, because we're running long, maintenance wise, you can see we're starting to mow grass a lot, that's good, I didn't bring a report up there,
As
but.
long as you're not spending money on fertilizer.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool, sounds good, you know, really that, between that and trash, that's about the biggest thing, had. Slayer came out to fix our refrigerator. We partnered buying the refrigerator last year and it had some issues, so they're still in the warranty fixing that, so that will show up on here in May, I don't think. Other than that, general stuff, we've been busy, it's the right time of year for training, so quite a bit of training happening in all the locations. The shops will never unbury themselves, we're pretty confident at this point in time. We've got a really good group of mechanics, actually. I've talked to Iowa Business Aviation Association. And they're just, everybody's just desperate for mechanics, and we could take more mechanics, but we're really pleased with the group that we have, and we don't want to fit any one or two more and be able to keep them busy with the force days that we have, so. So we're doing pretty well there, the hangar discussion, if something were to happen there, we'd be excited about that, you know, as those things come about, we potentially would look at subleasing those, and that can clear some things up. Just so that way we can help do that, and we do sort of more work on that when that comes. As far as like Oshkosh, for example, we have done in the past, where we'll do like a fuel discount, we'll be across all locations, so we'll be all four FBOs, and then that Titan Aviation Fuels does promote it, because they're the actual supplier to us for the fuel to resell, and so they actually sponsor fuel trucks at Oshkosh, so it'll be like, they have dozens of trucks up there for haulers. So anyway, so they're pretty big into that, but it was a good reminder, because I didn't get with them to tell them what we're gonna do, so they can advertise it in a huge contacts list.
I think that's a great idea. Would they actually provide some of the reduced cost?
That's a good, it's probably not.
Probably
It's probably not, like this. But they have been active when we've done, like when we did fly Iowa, or when we do the stimulus line every year, you know, different things, they'll put some fuel towards it, like a couple hundred gallons, whatever it might be. And then they become those sponsored events, so we just need to keep them in mind for something.
Yeah.
Never seen them sponsor a mural before, but I suppose there's a fuel truck in the back.
Yeah.
Driving along on the road with the sunset.
Titanic fuel.
But no, so that's something we'll definitely do. On that, any questions you have?
What's the supply chain backlog for service parts right now?
Depends on the airplane. Cirrus right now is a big hurts for supply chain backlogs. And they've been, you know, we'll order something and the next day it won't get shipped for a week. And I mean, it's a lot of it's on their side, but also sub suppliers for them.
But you're talking weeks, not months.
At the moment for that, weeks, engine overhauls right now, Pratt & Whitney is way behind. So we've got one of our jets that's gonna do overhauls. And they're so far behind that the loader pool, the loader engine is backed up because they haven't released the ones in the shop. So one of our airplanes is looking at being down for 9 months.
Oh,
Wait, you know, that doesn't work. Yeah, that doesn't work. Piston overhauls are still a ways behind, but I think they're kind of catching up a little bit. You know, oil filters and stuff like that have been terrible. They're starting to catch up a little bit. Tires are terrible, have been terrible, but they're starting to catch up a little bit, depending on what it is.
And then new airplane market, is that still strong? Are we seeing any kind of decline in that with the interest rates?
So, starting to see more inventory of used quite a bit, on some models, we're starting to spike up the, new airplanes are supposedly still have backlogs, big backlogs. Out, years for like for a serious example, you're 2 years out. But at the same time, if you want one, I think you can get one. I mean, there's people that are letting go of deposits and stuff like that. So I think things are slow and I think values are gonna work their way back to normalize anyway. Charter flying is back to 2019 pretty well right on, which was before the big spike up. Which will help on supply chain tires and everything else. And then we're also looking at, there's a lot of really big operators that grew a lot in the last couple of years that are now publicly starting to tell everybody that they're in big trouble. But so that's gonna change the market, hopefully change it for pilots. We've been always looking for more pilots and things like that. And so we're hopeful that pilots and training slots and things like that might ease up. At least temporarily. I mean, it's a long-term problem. It's not a quick problem to solve on the pilot side, but even just a temporary disruption would help a little bit.
When you say like normalize, I mean, prices are double what they were.
Oh, prices are double. We're talking about like hours, utilization of airplanes.
Okay.
We went up 40% in the number of hours we're flying, and it's just wild, and that was across the whole thing. Now we're back to pretty much right on what we were in 2019 in terms of like charter hours, which was a phenomenal year for us. We see that a lot of our customers are more diverse industries and people, so whereas before we had 3 or 4 really big customers, now so many people entered the market. And everybody's pulled back, but there's so many new people in the market that we're back to 2019. If we didn't have the big surge after COVID, people trying it, we would be below for sure. As you look through our schedule, a lot of people that had never flown before, now they're doing a couple trips a year. It's, for us, that's a good sign. For the people that were relying on 140% numbers and we're buying things, I mean, it's going to be colossal for some of those organizations. But that's not us. So that's good.
That's very good.
It's very good. But we'll see, I say it's cyclical, and but I think I've been really pleased to see one thing this airport has, and that with T hangars, it's important. I think because the pilot market is strong, and it's going to stay strong. I think T hangars are a good investment because pilots now are going to have the money to buy airplanes and do things. Whereas before they just didn't. So you're going to see retired airline pilots who have airplanes again, or even just active airline pilots with fairly good schedules who can afford to have they're good jobs, they're upper 6-figure jobs.
Because the jobs are paying more.
Because the jobs are paying
Not because
more.
everything's getting less expensive.
Not because everything's getting less expensive. I do think that they're about to. They are some. They're not. I don't think they'll return to what they were because general inflation is so high. But I think they're gonna come back down a little bit. Cool. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Okay, commission reports. Now we can have our discussions of all the other things.
Yeah, well, I think we covered
Covered a little bit.
it pretty well, but the Oshkosh thing, I think we had to really delve into. So, Matt, if you want to talk to Titan about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else that we as a group should do, like, flipping burgers or.
Well, that might be something to do. The hard part about Oshkosh, people come and go based on the
Right.
weather so much, but like your Young Eagles event, if you wanted to do something like that during that period of time. Because you're gonna have tons of people here.
Yeah.
Finishing up around lunchtime. Burgers are kind of difficult because it's a lot of work, but if you had. If the airport wanted to do, well, if they wanted to do some sort of pastry type things or something that people could grab or do. That might be it, but people are already here, so now you're trying to attract more people through it, so I'm not sure.
Or a bunch of Jimmy John sandwiches or something ready to go. Just
We'll have the popcorn machine around. That usually does.
Popcorn, coffee.
But they were already here, you said, right? So
They're already here, so they may not.
Think about
spend
the promoting the Oshkosh people more and see if you can get word of mouth and get more people than the following year.
could be a way of getting people reviewing area, there's air traffic.
We could have something they could, like, for example, when I flew down to the Sporties, they sell a hat for, I think it's $10, it says I flew to Sporties. Yeah. You could do something like that.
Merchandising gets real.
We had trouble with
iffy, so
t-shirts.
it's,
Yeah.
We did that for 100-year.
Yeah,
You have so many leftover shirts.
yeah.
No, we sold them tonight.
So.
Yeah. We sold out.
My
Yeah, we sold out.
recommendation would be request that Mike and Matt get together and pose a plan to the commission at the next meeting. Yeah, I think that's
Cool. Sounds good.
And next meeting. Okay, that would be okay. Anything else?
Staff report, just a couple of things that I touch on, for the management operations section. Monday, June 5th, we've got State Representative Eleanor Levin. I think that's how you pronounce her last name, coming out for a tour. She is our local state representative for the. I don't know, she is our, trying to get a couple more people, just because they're in the area. Deal with aviation or deal with aviation accidents, but she is physically ours.
June 5th.
June 5th at 2 p.m.
I did the last one, are you?
I think I can.
Okay,
You're welcome to join us. It's not going to be any new information that you haven't heard me talk about, but it's.
it's very good and responsive and there. Yeah.
1400.
And unfortunately, she's part of the minority party in a very red legislature. So
I'll just ask her to explain herself.
Outside of that, gonna have some vacation days coming up because I need to use some time. So Friday, May 26th, I'm gonna be out and take a longer weekend of Memorial Day. And then I'm looking at June 8th and 9th and probably wrapping around the weekend of June 16th and 19th.
June 8th, we're supposed to have a meeting, you're gonna be gone that day?
Oh, I'll stay around for that whole year for that.
Okay,
I didn't think that already. So yeah, June 8th, I'll be here.
Yes.
So you can catch that one.
okay, just checking, okay. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Anything else? We're done?
Just so everyone knows, I will not be reapplying for the commission. So if there are applicants that you would like to advocate for, please feel free. But I do appreciate the support and the opportunity to be a part of the commission. So thank you.
You've been a great member.
Thank you.
You haven't been written.
I will be recommending someone, but I don't want to, sway
Okay.
the commission, so,
Okay, but so at least we'll have somebody applying.
yes.
Yeah, and I've got.
You've got somebody to apply.
Yeah, it's probably
Probably a sleep person.
Okay.
The guy that came the other day?
I'm not saying.
They're not saying, they're not gonna, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. In that case, can I have a motion? What do you think? Sure. Second, all in favor? All right, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
All right.